Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Monday night panel. Just an ad hoc one we've got this evening. Just a couple of things before we bring the panel on. As you know, membership renewals are open. Membership is £5, very worthwhile, even though I say it myself. So that includes discount at the shop, discount for SAS travel, and also we're looking at other discounts available. I've just made contact with Mitchell Cycles, and they're giving us 10% discount on the showing of your membership card for accessories, clothing, and parts. So if you do need anything with your cycles, take it in there. You will get some discount if you show your card. Membership cards are being sent out, so you should have received them if you've ordered renewed. If you are due to collect them, I will be taking them to Harrogate with me on Saturday. So if you are at Harrogate, come and find me, and you can get your card then. I will also be taking some of the fixture posters, as you can see behind me, for members. So if you want to collect them on Saturday, I will be taking some. I'm not going to be taking a lot, but some, in case you're not coming, won't be able to get to the county ground to pick them up. We have been told that season tickets, the cards, the club are waiting for some cards to come through, and they'll be printed as soon as possible and sent out. So don't panic. They have said it will get there before the start of the season. So you should be okay before the first home game. So you should be okay with those. We also do subscriptions to our match day draw. So you buy a season subscription, so you get a number and that stays with you for the 23 home games, and you'll put in the draw for that. So again, that's on the store if you want to have a go at that. So you don't have to go and find somebody at the ground. You know you've got your number for that. Okay, so let's get Vic on.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much indeed. I've got some information too. We're full of it tonight.
Go on, then. Yeah. And I've got some information too, but I'll wait for you to do your information.
Oh, my goodness me. Right. SAS Travel. You'll be aware, of course, that the brand new season starts on Saturday. I just thought I'd give you the new opening hours for SAS Travel for the start of the brand new season. Tuesdays on the home match days, that's the nights we're at home, in person in the town end, the little office behind the town end there, from 6 p.m. On non-match days on a Tuesday, phone bookings only, please. That's from 7 until 8. On Thursday, in person or by phone, from 7 until 8. Saturday home matches in person from 1 p.m. And there is limited availability for both Harrogate and Walsall at the moment. So if you want to, as long as you've got a match ticket for Harrogate and you want to travel on the bus, there is limited availability. For non-members, it's £34. Now, if you join the supporters club, of course, you get reduced travel on SAS travel, and it'll be £32. It departs on 7:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. That's for Harrogate. You can find all contact details on the OSC website under away travel. So those are the new opening hours for SAS Travel. I'll do that again a little bit later on. So if you didn't get all that down, those are the details. But there is limited availability for both Harrogate and Walsall at the moment. But if you want to go to Harrogate on the bus, please have a match ticket already. They won't take you without a match ticket, I think it's fair to say.
Okay, and I just want to add, Vic doesn't even know this at the moment. I've just had confirmation through that next week you can plan your Mondays for whatever you want, but keep Wednesday free. So Wednesday evening, we will be moving on the sofa to a Wednesday, and it will be Paul Bodin.
Marvellous.
Just now through to for his confirmation that he can do the Wednesday. So same time, 7 o'clock on the Wednesday, and we'll have Paul Bodin on with us.
The great Zippy. How marvellous is that?
Yeah. And while we're talking of these type of things, Wednesday night, the St Tom Broadbent Lounge has Clem on there. So very early in the morning for him. I think it's 6 o'clock when they go out at 9. So that'll be a good listen. So yeah, so it's just a plug for that as well.
If anybody from the club is listening, and I know they do. Daryl has sent this message in. How do I get points on my son's season ticket, as his was purchased with 3 others? So I don't know which one is allocated to his, and I want the points on his for our regular away trips. I'm not sure how that works. I'm not the person ready to ask. But if somebody does know how that works, if they can get in touch with me or you, Chris, that would be lovely.
I was going to say, Vic, can you send that through to me, and then I'll speak to them in the shop.
It's on our system.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
Mark, who's taken the questions, has sent that through. So you'll be
fantastic. Brilliant. Lovely. Okay. We've took up enough of your time, so let's get the others on. So we've got Jamie.
Evening.
Andy.
Good evening.
Evening.
Rob. And our debutant tonight is one old duffer. It's our
He's there.
Marvellous. Did you manage to get the mouse around the wheel eventually, Kevin? Is that how it worked?
Oh, mate, this is a Steam computer, and I'm useless at it. So,
bless. Well, you're here now.
Yeah, marvellous. And you've got a fine collection of shirts behind you as well, which we'll get into in a minute. Andy, what shirt have you got on?
It's the 2010-11.
So it's the Stephen Darby one.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, marvellous.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave you. So I will speak to you later.
Chris, thanks very much indeed. Welcome along, everybody. And thank you very much, Dee, for joining us on this Monday evening. As Chris just said, next Wednesday night, a week on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, Paul Zippy Bowden will be joining us, and that'll be fabulous to talk about him. What a career he had. Twice at Swindon Town. Fantastic. Andy, welcome, a regular. Jamie, welcome, a regular. Rob, obviously, a regular too. Welcome to you, Rob. Kevin, now, I think many might describe you as an old duffer, and I think that's fair to say because you are an old duffer on YouTube. Tell us about yourself. How long have you been following the town, etc.?
Following the town, probably the first game was when I was about 7 years old, so 55 years ago, maybe, something like that.
Can you remember your first game?
No. All I used to watch was the crowd and the police fighting below me. My dad used to say, "I'm not taking you anymore." I used to go with my granddad, and my dad was season ticket holders in the old Shrivenham Road stand. So that's where it all started for years.
Fantastic. And we'll ask you about the old Duffer videos because a lot of people watch them and they are brilliantly put together. So I think they all start again on Saturday, do they not, at Harrogate?
Yeah, they do. It's a nightmare for me.
Oh.
I have to do all the editing. Russ just sits at home and eats, but I do all the editing on a Monday, and drives me mad. But eventually we get there, and
So hang on a minute. So you couldn't get logged onto this, and yet you would edit all that video material. How's that work?
It's taken a lot of practice and a lot of failed attempts. Drives me mad. Yeah. Because I haven't done it for about 6 or 8 weeks, so I'm going to have to learn to do it all again. But we get there in the end. So,
well, none of us have done it for a while, so we've all got to get into the habit again, haven't we? Let's kick off then with what we've seen so far. Andy, I know you were there Saturday. Jamie, you were there Saturday. I know, as you were, Rob, so were you, Kevin. I was there. Andy, your thoughts on Saturday?
Well, friendlies are always... I'm not really too worried about the score. This was the last one before the game, the first game of the season. So, and we're up against a side who, in Cardiff, were good, weren't they? They were strong. They knew where they were. They had awareness. You could tell the difference between the two teams. So, it's all about what you can learn from it. Let's face it, some of those players, I mean, McDonald, for example, that was his first game, wasn't it, for us? I thought it was a reasonable day, a good workout, and we learned something. And I think it was quite nice that we sort of got back into the game a bit in the second half. One of the most interesting things for me is what Scott Lindsay said afterwards, and said he played them fatigued. That'll be something might be interesting to discuss. I've never quite heard that one before, but it's an interesting concept, and hopefully it works out for us in sort of January time when, But overall, I mean, and not just that one, but the other I saw the Supermarine one and the Woking one. So it's a build up. I can see a few places where we need to improve, and perhaps a couple more players. but it wasn't a bad turnout on Saturday.
Jamie, the fitness thing is interesting, isn't it? Because I think if you go back to the Di Canio era, we started off terribly, didn't we? And look what happened there. So if he is playing untired after a really hard pre-season, is that a good or a bad thing?
Well, hopefully it's one of those where you gain the benefit at the back end of the season or the middle end of the season. It's a lot of new players that are still trying to work each other out and kind of build some rapport. It looked like that at times, I think. So I think it's more about the shape. It's more about them starting to get their fitness, as you say, and who knows how good that Cardiff team is going to be when they end up in the season. It sounded like afterwards that's pretty much the team that's expected to start at Norwich. So I think hopefully if we had a good workout and got the most out of it from our point of view, that's all you can ask. But hopefully by Saturday they've had a bit more time on the training ground to sort out their defensive unity. I think that was the main worry from our point of view.
Yeah, I think, Rob, that first half was a bit of a shambles defensively, wasn't it? I mean, or am I being too harsh?
No, I think you've been quite fair, Vic, actually. I think it's been said already that you don't want to put too much of a stall on your pre-season results, because we all know you're playing against teams you won't play against in the league week after week. As we say, Cardiff, I would say, looking at them, looked a strong physical championship outfit. Whether that'll be good enough to get them towards the top end of that division, you never know. But you could certainly see a clear difference in physique between most of their players and most of ours. But for me, one thing you look at especially when you get towards the last game of pre-season, is the shape of the side. And I was looking to see more in terms of who fitted and who didn't fit in that shape. 3 at the back, we tinkered with that last season, didn't we? And we decided clearly towards the back end that 4 at the back was a better option rather than 3 centre-backs. And the issues that I saw with 3 centre-backs last season were the same issues I saw on Saturday, which was you leave great big gaps behind the wing-backs for good players to get into. Now, okay, I don't imagine there'll be too many wingers who will necessarily exploit that at League 2 level, but you give teams a chance, don't you? When you leave big gaps defensively, then you only need to break the play up, one quick ball over the top to somebody who's quick down the wing, and you're in trouble. So not going to be too critical. Why would you be? It's a friendly. Everybody needs to get out there and get some minutes under their belt, which is exactly what happened. But I was most impressed, I have to say. Bowdry in the second half thought was absolutely excellent when he came on. Kept on the same performance level as he had at the back end of last season. Louis Reed, we know about his passing style. I was a little bit disappointed, if I'm honest, that none of the new players really showed up for me. Shades was a great finish, I have to say, and he looks like he's got some promise. Hutton down the other side probably as well. But I suppose the one really that stood out for me when he came on was Sado Khan. I thought he looked a really good player in the centre of midfield. But I was hoping to see a little bit more of the newcomers really step up. And maybe it's a bit too early for it, but let's see how they go when it comes to the Harrogate game on Saturday.
Okay, lots of comments coming in. Dave, the chair. Hello, Dave. Says, wow, what a panel tonight. Duffers, is Russ in the pub? Kevin?
He's probably in a restaurant somewhere eating.
Let's have a look. Got loads of them coming in. So I'll get through them first. As Sean says, up until a week or two ago, I was worried about the signings, but we seem to be adding experience of late. Andy Williams says, my thoughts. Andy Williams, we've had 2 or 3 of them, haven't we, play for us? My thoughts on Saturday. Harris didn't look great. McDonald looks rusty. Shade looks decent. Comedy goals conceded, so no change there. Decent second half. Darren says, Supermarine deserve their win on the day. They look strong this season. Rich says, need a striker only, and we are going up this year. Simon says, just like the opening game last season, I have no idea what's going to happen, but hoping the boys can click early doors. A 3-1 away win will be lovely again. Jason, hello to you. Playing fatigued helps with stamina over the season. Players have to learn to play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. And can't predict season on friendlies no matter what team. James says, Lindsay said he wanted the boys fatigued. And Rich says, Saturday was okay. Can't wait for Harrogate away, the 3 points. No such thing as a friendly. Greg says, who will be Swindon's penalty taker? Interesting question. Want to get round to that in a minute. Kevin, your thoughts on Saturday? I mean, it was our chance really at home to see a lot of the new players firsthand. What did you think?
I thought the first half was men against boys. I thought we were completely out-muscled, outplayed. The physicality, which some of the other guys have just said, the physicality was massive between the two teams. I sometimes wish, why can't we sign players like Cardiff? But the one good thing I think was that the second half, we looked like something was said at half time. That I don't know whether Cardiff took the foot off the gas or we sort of worked something out, and we were a lot better the second half. Obviously, it's not the finished product, and none of us will know how the season's going to go unless we know, the new players, are they better than the players that have left? We don't know. Time will tell. First 6 games I always look at.
Yeah, I would say H. McCurdy this time last season.
Yeah.
And look what happened there. So you just don't know, do you?
No. If we can get a good start, then I think it sort of snowballs from there. If we don't have a good start, I think, after 6 games, you tend to be somewhere down below halfway for the rest of the season. That's what it sort of looks like. But hopefully, I think, we look strong. We look more physical than last year. And that is what, to me, the problem was last year. We weren't physical. Too many smaller guys in midfield. And when you're playing some of these things like Barrow away in appalling weather, you need a few big guys in there. And I think that Scott Lindsay or the team have realised that. And we seem to have got a few more bigger, stronger guys in the middle of the park and maybe all over the park, certainly at the back as well. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, you need physicality in this league. There's no question about that. Mark Merriman, Mark says, we always go into the new season full of optimism, largely pleased with close season signings. However, we're still at least one striker light, so essential that we strengthen in this area. And I think it's fair to say, Andy, that Scott Lindsay last week, that's basically what he was saying, that they need people in the forward area, don't they? He's happy with the midfield. Obviously, he signed his captain subsequent to being on here on the Monday, which he hinted at doing. So forward area, we do look a little bit light, don't we?
Yeah, it's interesting that obviously if you like the 3 centre forwards, if you like, he signed obviously Oscar Massey. Is it Oscar? He's 18. He's obviously a prod. Hopefully, comes through. And Wakeling, he looked quite useful a couple of times I've seen him. And one thing I noticed at the Woking game, Swindon players take note. He actually, when he shot, he hit the target. That's still something that we're struggling on. Adioli, is that the how you pronounce Tony Adioli?
Adeloy,
I have concerns about him. I mean, all right, he was up against a strong back, central defence on Saturday. If you actually look at his record, he's 26 years old and he hasn't played a lot of football. Now, I don't know why that is. He just seemed a bit lost on Saturday, but as Rob said, it's, you can't really take too much from it. So those 3 together, that's at the moment, we still need another, probably a big guy up the front.
To be fair, I think Adeloy didn't really have any service, did he?
He didn't. No. That is absolutely, that's what you say. It's early days yet, but that's the slight concern. And, I mean, he did try. He moved Harry out to the right a little bit more, which I think is where his strength was last year, wasn't it? I mean, he gets a bit lost if he's ploughing down the middle because the lumps just sort of eat him up, don't they? So again, we need that. Harry McCurdy. I'm not saying Josh Davison. I know he's not coming. He's gone to Wimbledon, isn't he? But that type of player, or Tyree Simpson earlier on in the season, that seemed to work, didn't it?
Yeah. So, one worry, of course, was that Harry McCurdy got whacked in the first couple of minutes, didn't he? And he was struggling really.
Didn't he get whacked at Eastleigh as well? Someone said he had sort of a big lump on his ankle, as well. So. Yeah.
Well, I guess he's a target after 24 goals last season, isn't he? So that's that. Hi, Robert. Did anybody from the club look at Ollie Pearce and Worthing? I know Robert has talked about Ollie Pearce a lot over the last season or so. Scored 35 goals last season, scored 2 on Saturday. So he's obviously a marksman, that somebody you would hope might have been looking at. Jeff says, off the pitch, why does the music have to be painfully loud?
Agreed.
I just don't know. The tannoy... just can't quite get it right, can they? I guess they're keeping on investigating it, but yeah, and we had a change of goal music as well, which many of us Swindonians who like XTC were a little concerned about. But anyway, there we are. Which begs the question, why did we take so long in appointing Scott Lindsay? Well, I think it's fair to say they did talk to other people and they did go through the process, and whether the people that they were going to appoint turned them down, that's for the club to answer. Old Duffer-Ratter. Now, here's the answer to the question. I'm in a hotel restaurant in Ipswich as I'm working up here. Yes, I'm eating. Yes, I have a beer. And no, I'm not Scouting Simpson. So there you are. You were absolutely spot on the button there. So well done. Tony says, first half played 3-5-2. Second half 4-4-2. Much tighter. So, Jamie, does that suggest that Scott Lindsay does have a plan B?
Good question. I think it's a bit early to decide that. I think it was clear in the first half that it didn't work, wasn't it? So hopefully that was a bit of a response to, one, protecting a player that had a bit of a nightmare in the first half, and two, trying something slightly different. But I think the first half with the three at the back, we just gave the ball away. Basically, the midfield was non-existent, wasn't it? They bypassed it. And the number of times that the ball broke down and they broke on us really quickly, that effectively Gladwin and Williams and the midfield weren't having a sniff of the ball. So I think that wasn't the first time we've seen that. That was familiar last season when we played that as well, wasn't it? That the kind of midfield went missing. So I don't think you can blame the strikers, because they were either getting the ball lumped up to them or they had no service at all. I'd like to see us try the four at the back again. But the two fullbacks we've signed, are they really fullbacks or are they wing backs? I think I'm not sure we've got necessarily the personnel from what they've brought in to play that four at the back, which kind of suggests maybe we're going to have to persevere with a three, maybe.
Ellis Iandolo, of course, is an unknown, Rob, isn't he? We guess he's carrying an injury. He's not been seen in pre-season. He doesn't seem to get mentioned.
No, and I don't see why either, because if anything, he was probably our most improved player last season. Obviously, everyone focuses on what happened in the last kick of the ball at Port Vale, but as the season wore on, Ellis just got better and better and better. And obviously, he was as adaptable as any player in the squad last season, filling in the centre of midfield. Both fullbacks he played at certain stages of the game, even when it filled in as a third centre back when he needed to. So, I mean, with him back in the squad, he significantly strengthens the options. Of that, there's no doubt. But it would be nice to hear something about him, I have to say. I'm sure there's a lot of us who've been thinking the same thing. Where is he?
Yeah. What about that, Kevin? I mean, he did improve great. He was consistent, I think. He was Mr. Consistency last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, we see him at Woking before the game. And he was doing some extra running and with one of the physios or whatever he is there. And we did hear that he's carrying an injury. And they thought he was going to play. We were told that he thought he was going to play Saturday, but he didn't. So, but whether it is an injury or not, who knows? But I was talking to the Sky team after the Port Vale game, and they reckon he'll be a League One player this year. So they can't believe that League One clubs haven't come in for him and take him away. But so it could be right. You know what I mean? We might be losing him, but I just hope not. I hope it's an injury, but it obviously looks like he's carrying a knock, and hopefully he'll be back in Saturday or in contention on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, he's not had the best of times with injury, hasn't he? We all remember that horrendous tackle at Port Vale, don't we? A couple of seasons will go back, which put him out. I've got a question here which says, when is Rob Angus next on the panel? Well, the invitation's always there. And Malcolm says, Rob needs to sort out the basics, ticket office, tannoy, statics, stewards, who don't do anything, better organisation and management of the food kiosk. How did you find that on Saturday, Kevin? I mean, it was 3,500 there, all in one stand. What did you think of it all Saturday?
I couldn't believe I think we came out of Legends, and I couldn't believe the queue went virtually back to the road by the hotel. And we went to go and get on the back of it, but some of the stewards were then asking people to move up to further ones that towards where they keep the buses and etc. So we did that. We did get in, but we all had a ticket. I think there's 4 of us, and none of the tickets worked in the turnstile. And the young lad was just pressing a button or something every time, letting us in. So something wasn't working correct with the turnstile. So whether that was a problem still. And the food, it was too big. We were too late to get food before the game. They'd already just started to kick off, I think. And we went out at half time, or Russ did, and some of the other lads, and they'd sold out of everything by half time. So it wasn't a very good start, but I suppose there's a job to know how many people are going to turn up at pre-season friendlies, or I think they've all gone to pasties as well. Everybody's sort of talking about. So I don't know if that's the end of burgers and hot dogs and cheesy chips. Who knows?
Well, I have to say, as a vegetarian, there were quite good veggie options, Jamie, for the pasties. I know you had one. Well, I know you did because I saw you eating it. So you went out and you were told that they wouldn't be ready for 20 minutes, which would be when the game was kicking off. Is that right?
Yeah, I was one of the ones that queued up in a big long queue just after getting into the ground to get to the front to be told that they'd misjudged how long it was going to take to cook them, and they weren't going to be ready for another 15 minutes, which annoyed a lot of people clearly. And I get it. It's a first time, as long as they learn, and as long as it doesn't happen next game. But then, yeah, I went back out just before half time, and luckily that was before all hell seemed to let loose, and there was queues that were all through half time. But yeah, I think it caught people by surprise maybe that there was just the smaller selection of food, but it would have been good maybe to have pre-warned that and communicated it beforehand. There seems to be a lot of people surprised that they were missing their burgers and stuff. That maybe just gives something for people to moan about in some ways. But
does anybody know if that's the end of the burger van out the front of the town?
Well, they said they were
going to keep that.
They're keeping that.
That was part of the deal, because they were part of the contract, weren't they, inside? But right. they were keeping the burger van outside. I presume they just didn't come because it was just a pre-season friendly. Yeah. It wasn't their Saturday, was it?
No.
I would imagine it's be there for the Salford game. So
yeah, I mean, and I assume it's all part of the teething issues with a new team and a lot of staff that were clearly being trained on the day. But I'm surprised that they've got rid of simple things like the chips and things, which are just a no-brainer to have for a kid or for someone to spend some money on. But I'm assuming there's logistics reasons why they've done it, as long as there's things outside people have got as options.
I'd in no way make an excuse for them, Jamie. I think they do need to learn from it. But one of the factors to throw in definitely is the fact it was a 12 o'clock kickoff. Everybody wants food at 12 o'clock, don't they?
Yeah.
And I think they got swamped as a result of that. But as I say, this is a professional outfit. You should learn from that.
Yeah, as somebody who, of course, lives in Devon, pasties is a great option, as far as I'm concerned. Fabulous. Right, Tony.
They didn't quite compete with the ones at Plymouth and Exeter, though. I have to say, Vic.
Well, we'll say Exeter. Let's leave the other lot out of it. Tony says we entered the ground via the Legends Bar. As to the food, should have opened the town end kiosk. There'll only be sausage rolls, pasties, and pies in the inside kiosk. The burger van will be back somewhere at the back of the town end. Right. Andy, let's get into this where people might finish then. Dale says, in terms of league position, where do we need to finish in order for it to be considered a good season? Scott Lindsay said last week on this, promotion is his aim. Of course it is. It's difficult because, you know, we thought we'd go to Scunthorpe on the opening day of last season and get beaten by a team that we thought was going to be quite good. And look what happened. So who knows? But what do you think?
Well, you've got to say promotion, haven't you? There's last year was we all went where we were, the Melksham and all that good stuff, and then we got that close, and we were all extremely disappointed. I was still disappointed we didn't go up automatically. We just fell away.
Yeah.
This year, I'm sorry, anything less than promotion to me would be frankly disappointing. I'm not saying that's because we've got a super team or anything like that. I think it's just our expectations. We all of us that travel, we want to get out of this division, don't we? We want some new grounds to go to. We're going to spend most of our winter up north, aren't we? By the look of it. It's got to be, to me, it's got to be promotion. A mid-table will just not be acceptable for me this year. Sorry,
Jamie.
I think we've got to see progression, and I think maybe the worry is if we don't start well. I think a lot of the positive feeling from last year and the positivity that ran through, you want that to carry on and get a good start. who knows what we're going to be playing. I think it's going to be a tougher league this year. I think there's going to be better teams than there were last year. I think there's going to be a few that have spent a bit more money. But look at the size of the club and the size of the fan base. We should be competing for that top 3. There shouldn't be an excuse about that. If you look at the size of the support that we're going to have versus the vast majority of the teams that are in this division, we'd be underachieving if we're not in that top 3.
Well, 3,500, Rob, for a friendly. Most clubs in League Two, like Barrow and Harrogate, would be delighted to get 3,500, wouldn't they?
Well, that gate, if you look at it against last season's attendances, would have almost reached midway, Vic, for most of the average in that division. So, yeah, it says a lot, doesn't it? Okay, Cardiff did bring their a reasonable allocation as well, but no, there is a real expectation set now, isn't there? I think that's what everybody has to deal with this season. We, with greatest respect to the players that started the season last year, we had no expectation because of what had happened in the summer before it. So we were all content to let the season progress last year. As we got towards halfway, there was a real opportunity. And I think quite rightly, quite a few people have said, I think we lost our way. And not only did we lose our way, we lost our opportunity. Because I think last season, as we've just been talking about, was actually an easier league to get out of than it will be for this year. I think Scott Lindsay's got a really tough job, if I'm honest. I think not only has he got to replace some really key individuals who obviously, for the circumstances that we were left with last year, we didn't have under contract. He's got to put a team together, a squad together with limited pre-season. I have to say, I was expecting a few more games for those teams to play, and the ones that we have brought in haven't really had too much of an opportunity to gel together. So I do think there needs to be a little element of patience in our fan base, but I think that'll be very, very, very quickly eroded if the results don't go our way. I think there's a real expectation this year that we will go up. Whether that's playoffs, whether that's top 3, we all want top 3, of course we do. And anything less than that this season, and certainly if it's looking that way midway through the season, I think Scott Lindsay will be in a bit of trouble. So I fear for him because I really do think the man has got so much on his shoulders this year in terms of fan expectation that Ben Garner never had last year. He's got a completely different job to do.
To be fair to him, talking to him last week, I thought what a refreshingly honest person he was, and he came across very well. And you do want him to do well.
You do, absolutely, yeah. And I think everyone said the same thing so far. It was great to see someone who really loves the club in charge, but of course he's still got to make that team work.
Yes,
and that's a really tough job this early on, and he really does need some good results early doors, I think.
Yeah, this is from Paddy, Kevin. Vic, is there any truth that the 2 old duffers are going into Panto at the Wyvern this year? Hats off to the duffers. Their STFC videos are brilliant. So are you going to be in that?
Oh, we're open to offers.
I was going to say.
If they see our agent, we could do that.
Marvellous. What about your thoughts then, Kevin? I mean, you know, like the rest of us, you've been there, you've seen it, you've done it. What do you reckon?
As a fan who goes to a lot of away games, it's really good if we win a few games away. So I'm hoping that, as last year, we can continue that and be up. Well, I'd like to see us in the top 6 or 7 for the most of the season, but I also would, rather than being in the top 1 or 2, which I think is harder, I'd rather have a late run and take us into the top 3 towards the end of the season if we could get the timing right. But as long as we're in the top 6, 7, I think the crowds will still be there, the anticipation will be there. But if we're down a bit lower, we've got. I think trouble is our fans can be pretty toxic at times, and if we're down struggling, we're going to have a few problems, and it's hard to lift it once you're down there. But no, I think if Russ was here, he's an absolute optimist. You know what I mean? He'd be saying definitely in the top 1, and if we're losing 6-0 at half time, he would say we can still do it. And that's the way he is. He's an absolute, total optimist. So I'm a realist, but top 6 would be nice, and maybe pushing for top 3 if we can. But,
yeah.
So promotion has got to be the aim, hasn't it? Definitely.
You reminded me of Brian Clough's famous quote there. I'm not the best manager in England, but I'm in the top 1. That was one of his great, one of his great quotes, wasn't it? James says, "I'm generally excited about the players we've signed. I think it'll be a successful season. Playoffs in his first season would be good for Lindsay as it was for Garner. Playoff final would be good, in my opinion. Anything less than promotion will be a disaster." Tony says, "This got to make home a fortress." And Jules says, "Hello, Jules. Swindon deserve a promotion this year." I think the thing is, Andy, we were so fed up, weren't we, with the home form last year? I mean, that's what cost us. Let's be honest. 2 or 3 more wins at home, and they would have gone up automatically. It's that simple, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I mean, it was you have to couple that with, was it 14 away wins in the end? So if we have the same away performance this year, and to be fair, I suppose the home performances were improving come the end. I think it was just such a shoddy start. After Christmas, things improved. But yes, that's what we've got to do. Now that the crowds, let's hope that we get the similar crowds that we did last year. It was getting almost every week. It was getting 8s and 9s and 10s. We can get that sort of crowd and that sort of noise in there, and like you say, have this much more positive intent at home games, and the word fortress, I totally agree. You go back many, many years, Swindon, you just didn't come away with anything. It was a real fortress. And we've got to get back to those days.
Yeah, there's a comment here. We as fans have to help out home ground being a fortress. I mean, of course, the thing is, Jamie, we a lot of the time that the ground was quiet last season, wasn't it? After but then Harry McCurdy made the point, didn't he, that, come on, you've got to rally behind the team. And then suddenly the noise lifted by about 20 decibels.
Yeah, I think that's the key with what I heard from Lindsay, is that he kind of alluded to that, getting on the front foot. That kind of, I think the crowd has always responded to players that are playing at pace, that are showing a bit of grit, that are showing a bit of enthusiasm. I think it was just the times over the last couple of seasons when we've been knocking it around so slowly at the back and the pedestrian build up. That's what created, I think, the kind of almost dull atmosphere of sitting there just waiting for something to happen. I think if he can create a team that looks like they're going to go off from the start, that was the Canio era, wasn't it? That was why Canio was popular. That was why that team was popular, is that you were waiting from minute one for something to happen, and it did. And we started quickly. I can't remember the last season where we started quickly, and I think that's what Lindsay needs to change round. And that was what I think we saw on Saturdays. The 2 goals came from the only 2 times we turned around and ran at pace at someone.
Yeah.
And actually
goals.
The game.
Yeah. Carl says, "No need to panic. Best seasons are always the ones that build slowly. Didn't Di Canio lose the first 3 in our promotion season?" Well, he won the first game 3-0 at home to Crewe, didn't he? If I remember rightly. Callum Kennedy with his first goal in that Di Canio era from the penalty spot. Liking the messaging that's coming out. I'm hopeful we'll do more than hold our own this year. Inexperienced manager to get promotion is a big ask. I agree, though. He'll be sacked if we don't make it. Good evening, all. About time seeing an old duffer on here. Love your videos. Keep them up. Stop praising the old duffers. Come on, get off.
Not about me.
It's not fair on us. Get off. Rob, what about starting, though, well? Because it is important, isn't it? You've got a new manager, and we all turned up for the Carlisle home match last season, didn't we? After that win at Scunthorpe. Beautiful sunny day, 10,000 crowd. Guess what happened? We lost, didn't we? So you want to get a win in your first game, don't you?
Absolutely. And we have got a great track record in our first game of every season for the last Lord knows how many years, haven't we? We're one of the best in the business as far as the first game is concerned. It's the first home game, unfortunately, that seems to always come a cropper and set the tone for the rest of the season at home, it seems. I mean, we talk about starting off well. The only home game I can remember us winning early doors for quite a while was actually in our season we got relegated because we stuffed Rochdale 3-0 and I played really, really well that day. 3-1, sorry. But I see I'm in that strange situation just at the minute where I'm so excited because the season's about to start. We're always excited, aren't we, when the new season kicks off? You just don't know what to expect. And I think there's more optimism than there's probably ever been before because of big crowds, starting to spend a little bit of money on the team. We've got a redeveloped ground coming our way as well, which we've been waiting for so long. There are so many things to be optimistic about, yet we're still filled with that little bit of trepidation. And Saturday didn't help us too much because we wanted something just to boost our efforts a little bit more, boost our energy, and we just got those nerves back again, I think, as a result of playing at home. Win a home game, just win a home game, get us all off to a flying start, and then everyone will be back behind them again. And I think that's it. That's it for me, for Lindsay. I think if he can just get a little bit of momentum, everybody wants him to do well. Everybody wants him.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And the trouble is, you're always going to be labelled with that. You were a coach. Can you step up to be a manager? And we all saw it, John Gorman, didn't we, in the Premiership season? He didn't quite have that step up material, let's say, to be able to do that job. And we just hope that this isn't a repeat. Scott Lindsay, we all want to succeed, but we've just all got those little nagging doubts in our head at the minute until we actually see things start to go well.
Yeah, I think my overall impression is that I haven't heard a negative comment about him being in charge, which is great. And, he has that goodwill behind him. Ian says, I'm with Rob. After coming so close last season, expectations are high. And I do have major concerns about Lindsay. I think if he doesn't get off to a good start, and if come late November we're in mid-table, then do we stick or twist? I look at Rovers last season. They struggled and their fans wanted Barton gone. They stuck with him and eventually got promotion. That is a very good point, because if you remember when we went to the Memorial Ground, they looked dreadful. So
they spent some money as well, Vic, which can't be ignored. That January transfer window, they started to improve, but they spent some money when they needed to, where they needed to, and suddenly became a very good side as a result of it.
Yeah. Old Duffer Rat, you can't keep these people down, can you? Old Duffer Ratter says, when we are losing or struggling, this is when the crowd need to up their game. Players respond to a good, loud crowd. We've proved that. So then, Kevin, tell us about the Old Duffers. How did this all come about? What was it all about?
I don't know where it all came. We went to Scunthorpe and I just took my phone and I just filmed a few little bits for just, going to put it on Facebook. Yeah, this is what we did Saturday. We went to watch Swindon. And this is what we did. And I think it showed, because that was about 4 minutes long. That's the first version. It's 4 minutes. And I did the second one. And then we got loads of response from people saying, "Oh, you want to do that? That's good. That's good for the fans that can't go to games. It's good for." We had people from Australia, America contact me. And I don't know, we just started doing it. And like I said, the editing was a nightmare, but I got my head around it and I practiced and kept working at it. And it's just it's taken off. About 1,000 viewers, if that's taken off. You know what I mean? If you cut up a tuna fish, you get 8 million viewers on YouTube. So we get 1,000 or 1,000 plus. But it's great. We're not doing it for anything. We have actually been sponsored. Jack at Red Squirrel. They've sponsored us this year, which is fantastic, and I thank them. So it's taken off a little bit, and it's going different places, and we get asked for photographs and different things, which is stupid, really. But we're just Swindon fans, and if it entertains people, which it seems to, then great.
Well, I think it certainly does. And are you enjoying? I mean, I know you. Gosh, I spent my whole life editing stuff, so I kind of know what you mean. You want to get it right, and it's taking the time to get it right. 3 seconds of film takes you I don't know, half an hour to do. So are you enjoying it?
We normally end up with probably me and Russell take a load each, so we have way too much. He sends everything over on a Sunday morning, if you can remember. And then I have to look through it and I pick all the little bits I think we might want. And then I put it all together to roughly 20 minutes, 24. I don't want it to go on too long. It gets boring. So we try and do about 20 minutes plus. And it's been working out and it's getting easier. The more I do it, it's getting easier. There was so much to learn. I was getting copyright claims because there was music in the background. Everything was going, things that we tried. I showed the goals from Sky. And then we get a message from them saying we couldn't show the goals from Sky, so I cut all that out. First of all, it was only on Facebook and not on YouTube, and somebody told me and showed me how to put it on YouTube. So we've got a channel now. So it's developed over the time. But whether we continue is, who wants to watch them if we're bottom of the league and getting a kick in each week? You know what I mean? It's good when you're winning. It's easier when you're winning. And I'm the world's worst passenger, due to a bad car crash. But so I hate the travelling and the journey, away games especially. And I don't want to go all the way to Carlisle if we're getting thumped, or Barrow, you know what I mean? So it might not, who knows? Hopefully we're winning every game and we're up there and enjoying it and having great fun making the show. But I think it depends on the team's performance, a lot of it.
Well, a lot of the content that comes out. I mean, I think Swindon as a fan base, we're very lucky. There's lots of stuff coming out, so it's great to have it. Gerard says the old duffers are brilliant, especially for overseas fans. West of Ireland fan. So there we are. That's a good one. Tony says good travel mates on tour. The Kev and Russ Barrow. Laugh out loud. Yeah, Barrow away. Laugh is not something I'd associate with that Saturday afternoon. No. Right, let's get on some more of these. Jill says, fans singing loud and proud. Swindon players hear you and play better. Town have history for after the Lord Mayor's show performances. We need to get the ball forward so much quicker at home. We allow the opposition to get organised. Even Kevin Rose could defend against us. Could you? I don't know.
I was a great centre-half.
Well, there you go then. See, Steve says, McCurdy is key. He can get the crowd going. Worried about Luton talk. Does he want away? I'd love to interview Harry McCurdy. So, Dave, if you're listening, could we have him on, please, in a couple of weeks? Andy, what about that? I saw a comment that Ben Garner wrote about the Charlton friendly on Saturday, saying he had a couple of people sat behind him saying forward. I'm sure he's kind of aware of that quite a lot. And he was saying, we're going to play the way we play. But people love attacking football, don't they? That's what they want to see their home team do, isn't it?
Yeah, they do. And I think sort of Scott Lindsay alluded to that in the comments with you last week, wasn't he? Yeah. I think we'll see a slightly different. And I think, to be fair to Garner, I think he did listen a little bit. I mean, our systems changed, whether that was because he had to after Christmas when we had the change of personnel. But I mean, Swindon's tradition is based on attacking football. Certainly, we go back to the home games. It was always, I go back to the times when the 70s and the 80s, and we were, or even the Canyons, sort of playing 4 forwards and this, that, and the other. The Quins, the Bambas, the Wedgerleys, all that era. It's always been very, very positive attacking football. And let's hope. One positive of playing, a back three. That means you've got sort of, wing backs running up and down. Let's hope that there's an intention to do that. Like I said, he alluded to that fact. And the squad that he's got in, he's got people in lots of different places. It seems to have been well thought out, the people that he's brought in. So let's hope for a much more happy, certainly home games, much more happier Saturdays and Tuesday nights.
Yeah, we had David Moss on as a guest a couple of weeks back, of course, and, he belonged to that wonderful side in 75, 74, 75. That was just pure attacking football. And, as I said at the time, is one of my favourite teams because you loved watching them play, didn't you?
Eastoe, Syra,
Anderson, Marstyra, all that lot. Yeah, it was wonderful football. Jamie, are the panel concerned that the likes of McCurdy or Reid may leave before the transfer window closes? I think the likes of Jojo, Payne, Egbo will be massive losses. Also, I think Akin Odemai, of course, will flourish at Northampton. What are your thoughts? And nobody knows what's going to happen between now and the end of the window, which I think is like the 2nd or 3rd of September. What are your thoughts on that?
And I think that's ludicrous. I think if you look at how far into the season the transfer window actually closes, it's worse than ever before, isn't it? It seems to be so much later. So I don't know, is it 6 or 7 games you've played or something before it actually closed? So who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, if someone comes in with an offer you can't refuse, they're going to go, aren't they? We're never going to be in a position to say no to that. I would hope we're in a position now where we don't have to let someone go. But I guess the side bet to that is, would you want to hold on to someone who doesn't want to be here, whose head gets turned, and then you end up half a season of them not really wanting to be part of the team? That would be my concern with someone you say no to if it's a better opportunity, if it's going to a higher level or higher. But that's hope we're the ones picking up players rather than losing them, because I think that's where we need that 1 or 2 signings nearer the end of the window that are going to give us a bit of a boost maybe in a few weeks' time. I would hope that's what we're talking about rather than one or two of our players kind of going the opposite direction.
Yeah, because Rod, the interesting one is McCurdy, isn't he? Because 24 goals last season, you don't know whether he's going to get that this season. Somebody comes in with an offer, bit of money. What do you do?
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? I mean, I will be the happiest person in the world if Harry McCurdy doesn't score a goal before the 2nd of September and we win all our games. Yeah. That would be the ideal scenario, wouldn't it? But nobody's coming in for him. We know that everyone thinks his bubble's burst, then all of a sudden he goes on a scoring run at the start of September onwards. That would be the perfect scenario, I guess. But we're victims of our own success, aren't we? Let's be honest. Last season, McCurdy, we've seen Payne, probably £250,000, £300,000 player go for nothing in the summer because we know we only had 1-year contract offers on the table last year. That's the only thing that we could do. So at least we know that if an offer comes in, it is an offer, it's money. You get a chance to reinvest that back in the squad, presumably. And none of us want to see the big players go. Let's be honest. We know how good Louis Reed is. We know he doesn't belong in League Two. But we just got to hope that every manager who potentially could court him away doesn't do so. Similar with McCurdy. Harry McCurdy on his own up front, we might as well take the money for him. Harry McCurdy alongside another striker who's going to give him opportunities, he could very well go and top 30 goals next season. So again, these are all unknowns and you've got to weigh them up when they turn up. For the where we are at this moment in time, though, we've just got to hope that squad stays as it is because we had a conversation about 6 weeks or so ago, didn't we, when we thought, nice stable summer, no managerial changes, just tinker with the squad.
Yeah.
Couldn't be further from the truth, could it?
Right, let's have a look. Greg says, I've also heard that McCurdy wants to leave and was upset to move to a move to Luton fell through. I know more than that. What do you reckon, Kevin? I mean, gosh, I go back so many years, there's always been rumours about players leaving. Even Don Rogers, the rumour was there every 5 minutes that he was going to leave. Eventually he did, of course. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of the rumours are started by fans on social media now. I don't think, it's not coming from any of the clubs. But I think we probably are going to lose somebody in the very near future. I think money is all about money. Proven that there's not much loyalty in football now. I don't know. Even like Ben Garner. Well, I've not seen anything from Ben Garner saying, "Oh, cheers to the Swindon Football Club, thanks to the fans," or nothing. He's just gone with nothing. You know what I mean? Which I find really hard to take because I think he was well backed. You know what I mean, by the fans and everybody. But so is there bad taste? Is there a reason that we don't know why he went? I don't know, but I do think we'll lose somebody. But then maybe we'll get somebody good back. You know what I mean? If we've got money, it'll definitely be for money. I would have thought. Did the manager talk about Will Grigg the other day? So what caliber are they looking at? Forwards,
I would say we seem to be linked with Will Grigg every season somehow.
That was the manager that mentioned that, wasn't it?
So I kind of, if it happens, it happens. But are we going to be linked with him when he's 73? That's a play. I've got a message here which says, "Are the old Duffers going to release any merchandise?" Now, I can see behind me there is a shirt with old Duffer on it. So, is there merchandising coming?
That one was somebody had it made in Australia. One of my friends, Kevin, he came over from Australia, and he had them made there and brought them to me. And Russ have got one each with old Duffers on or something like that. But we have looked at things like old Duffer mugs and not maybe T-shirts, but I think the only people that would probably want a mug. That's it. Look, so we have one with old Duffer following Swindon Town, and maybe something like that. But for Christmas, maybe
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And for charity, let's do it for
charity. Yeah. Because what's the white shirt behind you with Click on it? What's that one?
Right. So the Click one is me and my business partner set up a celebrity football team for Click. And we went around playing games with some TV and football stars playing in our team. I sort of managed them.
Brilliant.
But so that was the Click one. We had that one specially made, that shirt. The yellow one in the middle is Clanfield Football Club. I have a lot to do with Clanfield and played for them for a few years. And yeah, the black one's just some ironing I've got to do. And the yellow one is one of my, not my favourite shirt, but I think it's a good shirt, so I bought that one. Not made my mind up on the black and white ones yet.
Actually, that reminds me, very interesting point. I don't know if you saw it in the news today, Andy. Puma are having major problems because Swindon have had a lot of stick about shirts not being available. But it seems as though it's not just Swindon, is it?
No.
It seems that's a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the way of the world, isn't it? And where the shirts are coming from and everything like that. So, I mean, it's not a nice problem to have, but it's a good problem that so many people are interested in buying them, and it was interesting to see just how many people were wearing them on Saturday. I'm still waiting for mine to come through because it was done by mail order. I believe they actually shut the shop, haven't they, this week to concentrate on that. So that's all good. And fingers crossed, everything will get sorted. Certainly, if not Saturday for the first home game, that we can all wear our colours.
Luckily, I got my order in early, and there it is. So yeah. Right, lots of questions coming in. No one's irreplaceable. Look, when Doyle left, for example, then McCurdy comes along. Good point, Keith. Thank you. David, another one from Old Duffel Rat. It's honestly, in that restaurant, he's not eating very much, is he? Because he's sent a lot of comments in. There's no loyalty in the game now. Money talks. Gone are the days of players hitting 500 to 600 games for the club. Dean Lewington, he's getting close to John Trollope's record, I think, isn't he?
We didn't get an injury early season, couldn't we?
Yes. Yeah, John Trollope, what a great man. Rich says, coincidentally, Will Griggs signed for MK Dons. So there you go. Steve says most signings are on 2-year contracts. Club must think that new signings are League One standard. Right, who would the panel like to sign and why, Jamie? You're Scott Lindsay, right? You've got your phone in your hand. You're wanting to pick somebody to play for Swindon. Who would you be after?
I think if you're picking a name that we know of, I think there's only one really. It'd be Simpson. I mean, whether or not there's going to be any possibility from the kind of price tag they put on him, or whether they'll eventually succumb to him going out on loan, but that's the obvious one that fits. But for me, it has to be a striker. So outside of that, who do we know that be in that proven category? But go for what you know and what you can develop.
Yeah, good point. And 400,000's been mentioned. They want to lend him out to another League One club, which I find odd, Rob. But who would you go for?
It's really tricky to pick one name, isn't it? Just off the cuff. I mean, there are many players who would fit the bill for us at the moment. But it's a target man. It's always a target man for me. And it looks like we've done what we needed to do in terms of getting in an experienced centre half, because that was critical for me. If Matthew Bowdry can't play every game, we needed somebody else in there who could. I think I went on record as saying beforehand that Solihull Moors team that played in the playoff final, I'd have ripped their team apart if I'd have been managing us this summer. I thought they looked a real top quality outfit at that level, and had they managed to make it forward, I think we'd have seen them as a really good side at this level. I think there were some really good players at the very top of non-league that would do a great job in this level. And hopefully, we've mentioned Khan from Chesterfield already. Hopefully, he's an absolute steal and he'll work out perfectly for us. But we'll always gravitate back to a big centre forward. And Jamie's just said his name, isn't he? He's the one who's immediately on everyone's lips at the minute, which is Tyrese Simpson. But there are many more out there. There are lots and lots of players. Let's not delude ourselves at the minute and just try and put all our eggs in one basket. We're focused on the start of the season, but there's still a hell of a lot of players out there that we could pick up between now and the 2nd of September. So get that scouting network working really well for us.
Yeah. Lane says, what about Gary Cahill? He's free.
Too old for me now.
And wages. Malcolm says, what about Joe Tomlinson again for a second spell? I mean, obviously a local boy, did terrifically well till he got injured. Great influence on the team as well. So I think
he was on a 3-year deal though at Peterborough, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Well, I signed a new contract. I think I'm right in saying. Kevin, who would you like back or in? Who would you sign?
I don't know who's on the list, but there's obviously plenty out there on the list. I don't know. I think we might loan a half decent striker from a young. Yeah, there'll be a guy that scored against us from Man City, a young lad. Big strong lad. I mean, I'd like somebody like that.
Yeah, be lovely.
I don't want a has-been. No old has-beens.
Was that Haaland you were thinking was getting loaned out, Kevin?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
You don't want Brett Pittman then, Kev, because he's.
No, only to help the groundsman. No, definitely not. I think that's where. I think that would be the route we're going, especially this late that we haven't actually captured anybody. I think they'll be going to a few top clubs and saying, "Who have you got?" Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that the Premier League clubs kind of want to find out who's in their top 25 first, don't they? And then start thinking about loaning players out before. So, I'm sure we're in touch with Premier League clubs. Got a good relationship with people like Villa. So, and Liverpool, people like that. It's funny, we had David Moss on here, who was he was a scout for their academy. And then a day later, of course, we signed a player from Liverpool on loan. So, the contacts are there, aren't they? Theo Robinson is a free agent. Blimey, Theo Robinson, eh? Andy?
Just as everyone else said, it's a big centre forward for me. But one little positive, because if Harry maintains his standards that he set last year, normally you're after a centre forward that is going to bang you 30 goals in. And that's hopefully it's not what we need. We want someone that will hold the play up, like you say, a Tyree Simpson, a Josh Davison. So there isn't that necessarily that requirement for him to go and score loads of goals. It'd be nice if he does. So that might open the field a little bit more. And looking at what Sandro has done so far, looking at the signings that he's brought in, there's been quite a bit of thought to it. This issue with the data-driven stuff. If you actually look at the signings he's made, they're not obvious ones, and it's clearly some work and research has gone into them. So one would think if that's the way, they've obviously got few people that got lined up. Like you say, it goes on. We might not resolve this issue until the end of the transfer window, and they said about the Premiership, and that will manifest itself down because the Championship won't then release players because they're not sure. So we might not solve this problem until about 6 games into the season.
Yeah.
I think the encouragement though is that we've still got 3 loans left, haven't we?
Yeah.
So
we've only got two loan signings so far. Yeah. We can sign as many as you like, can't you? It's just that you only can have 5 in the smash.
You can play so many, yeah.
Compared to kind of last season or so, where we were up against it and we were talking about if you brought any more in, we'd have to work out who we can and can't play. We've kind of given ourselves that foundation to wait, haven't we? And hopefully bring in a couple of extra cherries on top.
That's right.
Well, Ian says Broom ex Cheltenham, currently at Peterborough, has been told he's free to go. I know Scott Lindsay says no to midfield options, but he's always played well against us. Of course, Scott Lindsay said last week he was happy with his midfield unit, wasn't going to add to it. But of course, if you lose a midfield player like Louis Reed, you've got to do something about it, haven't you? Will Harry be as good under Scott, or did Garner have him under his arm and bring back Scott Twine on loan? Right. Okay, we're going to come to a close in a minute. Let's just go around quickly and get your quick predictions of where we'll finish. Rob, let's start with you. Where are we going to finish?
We're going to finish top, Vic. Of course we're going to finish top. Realistically, I would say at this moment in time, if we are 10th by Christmas, we will definitely push the top 3. But I'm going champions because I always go champions.
Well, why wouldn't you? Kevin?
Top 3.
Top 3. Brilliant. Andy?
Yeah, top 3. It's got to be.
Jamie?
Top 3 because my nerves couldn't take another Port Vale.
Oh, God. Well, there we are. It's official. The Reds are going up because I'm going to go top 3 as well. So that's that. Should we just not bother with the season? No travelling. Be great, wouldn't it?
I'm going champions.
Yeah,
Well,
fair enough. So as far as we're concerned, the season is promoted and we're all is cancelled and we're already promoted. So let's not bother it.
It's not bother.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody. Brilliant as always. Just a couple of things. We've had a member asking us if we'll do a panel for memorabilia and what's your favourite bit of memorabilia and things like that. So if anybody wants to join in on that, if they can send me a message or the OAC a message, sorry, or go to our website and an email from there, just saying what you've got and everything like that. With we can do a few people and get everybody on. We don't know when it's going to be yet. We were hoping next week, but that's not possible. So sorry, Malcolm. But we will try and do one of those. Okay. So let us know. We just want to do something a bit different. So
yeah. And thanks to Kevin. And we'll look forward to your first vlog over the weekend. So
yeah, thank you very much, Vic. Thanks for having us.
No,
yeah, and we'll look forward to having Russ on with you next time you're on.
Yeah, keep you to that.
Okay.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just remind you about SAS travel because it's most important for those of us leaving at 5:30 on Saturday morning to go to Harrogate. Anyway, we won't go on about that. Tuesdays home match days in person from 6 o'clock in the evening. Tuesday non-match days phone bookings only 7 till 8. Thursday in person or by phone 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Their offices in the town end offices, not far from the shop. Saturday home match days in person from 1 o'clock. There is limited availability for both Harrogate and Walsall at the moment. Harrogate non-members £34, members £32. Departs at 7:30 a.m. from the county ground. Most important that you get there and get on the bus at 7:30 because those of us who are waiting a little bit further down the line like the bus to get there in time, if that's okay with you. So there we are. All details about contact numbers you can get on the OSC website under away travel. So there we are.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks for that, Vic. So it's next Wednesday we're on with Paul Bodin, so not Monday. And just one thing, because I know there were some questions on this. The wall charts, the fixture wall charts, we are going to look at posting them out. What we're going to do is work out how much it's going to cost, because of course we've got to have a tube to put them in and then the postage, and we'll put that up on the website for members only. So if you do want them posted, send me a note and I'll let you know what the price will be. So okay, well, thank you very much.
Mark just said, Chris, I don't know if you saw that, but just to let people know, there's a train strikes are on at the weekend, aren't they?
There is, yeah, train strike on Saturday, so be careful if have a look before you travel. Okay, thanks everybody. See you next week.
Bye.